Welcome to the deep dive. We sift through the reports, the documents, the research. Basically, we bring you the core facts so you walk away knowing what's what.
Yeah.
Today, we're getting into some extremely sensitive material. It concerns Errol Musk, who is, of course, Elon Musk's father. Our job here really is to carefully pull out the key factual points, the legal aspects, and the family relationships described in these specific sources titled Errol Musk, Abuse Allegations, and Family Conflict. We want to lay out the claims, the responses, the family stuff clearly and, impartially, based just on what the material says.
And it's really important to stay upfront. This material is complex. It's sensitive. You've got serious claims on one side, strong denials on the other. So as you listen, you kind of need to hold both sides of this in your mind. The allegations themselves, and then the legal context and the public pushback. It requires careful attention.
Okay, let's dive right in then. The sources start with these core allegations, very serious ones. The main claim outlined is that Errol Musk, cited as being 79, has been accused of sexual abuse involving 5 of his children and also a stepchild.
Yes, those are the foundational claims presented in the documents we looked at. Extremely serious.
And the sources are specific about when and where this allegedly happened. We're talking South Africa and California, apparently stretching back quite a way to the early 1990s.
Right. It's not just one place or a brief period. The timeline in the documents covers, well, decades and different continents.
Can you give an example just to ground this a bit?
Sure. The material mentions, for instance, a specific claim from a stepdaughter. She alleges abuse starting when she was 4 years old back in 1993. So that gives a very concrete starting point in the timeline presented.
And it wasn't just her.
No, that's another key point in the material. It states that similar allegations came from 2 of his daughters and also a stepson. So you're looking at claims documented from several individuals within that family structure, according to these sources.
Okay, that definitely raises the stakes. But to get the full picture, we have to look at the response, right? The counter-argument.
Exactly. That's crucial. The sources document Errol Musk's reaction very clearly. And it's not just a simple no. He's quoted referring to the claims as lies and nonsense. So it's a very strong, very direct rejection.
An absolute denial.
Absolutely. And he apparently goes further than just denying it. The documents mention he offers a reason why he thinks these claims are being made.
Ah, right. What's his explanation, according to the sources?
He suggests it's an attempt to extort money, specifically to get money from his son, Elon Musk. And that's a huge detail, right? Because it reframes the whole thing from his perspective as being about money, not about seeking truth. That's his stated position in the material.
So you've got these severe allegations met with flat denials and this counter-accusation of extortion. Okay. What about the legal side? What do the sources say happened officially?
Well, the documents state that these allegations led to 3 separate police and court investigations.
3 investigations. That shows they were taken seriously, at least initially.
Yes, definitely indicates official inquiries were launched. The reporting confirms 2 of those investigations are now concluded, though the outcome or status of the 3rd one isn't made completely clear in the specific documents we reviewed.
Okay, and here's, I think, the really critical legal point from the reporting. It's something that creates a lot of tension here. Despite those 3 separate legal processes, maybe spanning different countries, even South Africa, California,
Right.
the sources clearly state Errol Musk has not been convicted of any charges related to these allegations.
That's the core legal finding reported. Investigations happened, yes, but they didn't lead to a conviction.
So why is that? Do the sources give any hints? It seems like a disconnect.
Well, the material doesn't spell out a definitive why, but it does point towards complexity. You mentioned the jurisdictions, South Africa, California, different legal systems, thousands of miles apart. That alone adds layers.
And the timing, too. Some claims go back decades. Statutes of limitations could be a factor, right? They vary so much.
Exactly. Statutes of limitations, different standards of proof needed for older accusations. These are all potential factors in why investigations might not lead to conviction, even if claims persist.
So the bottom line is, investigations occurred, but no conviction resulted. That's the fact reported.
Precisely. And you have to hold that fact alongside the detailed allegations from multiple family members. It highlights a complex situation where the legal outcomes don't neatly resolve the reported claims, understanding that complexity is key. It's not straightforward.
Okay, let's shift focus a bit. Beyond the legal specifics, the material also talks about the family atmosphere, what it was like growing up in that environment.
Yes, and this provides really important context. The sources bring in Tosca Musk's perspective, Elon's sister. She's apparently been critical of her father publicly. The documents cite her, mentioning his, quote, erratic behavior and verbal abuse.
Erratic behavior, verbal abuse. That already suggests a pretty difficult environment.
It does. It paints a picture of, let's say, intense and probably high conflict interactions.
Does it say more about the general feeling, the power dynamic?
Yeah, it builds on that. Tosca apparently described him as domineering, and the reporting overall notes that Errol is said to have, quote, exerted strong control over the family.
Strong control, domineering.
Right, so it's not just about arguments. It's describing a reported power structure within the family, according to these sources.
That context feels vital, for anyone trying to understand this whole situation, regardless of how the legal investigations turned out. This documented pattern of strong control and domineering behavior, that shaped the family environment for a long time.
It absolutely adds another layer. It suggests a background of significant parental authority and potentially tension, which kind of informs how you might read everything else, the conflicts, the claims, the denials.
Okay, and speaking of the wider family, let's bring Elon Musk back into this directly. How does he fit into the timeline of these allegations?
The reporting specifies when he apparently became aware. It says he was informed back in 2010.
2010, so quite a while ago.
Yes, reportedly through a detailed 5-page letter sent by another relative. So the sources indicate he knew about the seriousness of the situation well over a decade ago.
And knowing that makes some of Errol's public statements about their relationship seem, well, complicated.
Very complicated. Errol has, according to the sources, publicly claimed he has a good relationship with Elon. Suggesting things are fine between them.
Yeah.
But the reporting contrasts that directly. It points out that Errol has also publicly criticized Elon in the past.
Ah, okay. So it's not like he's always been publicly supportive?
Not according to the material, no. He's contradicted his own good relationship claim by publicly taking issue with his son. It adds nuance.
So you can't just take that good relationship claim at face value then?
Exactly. Especially when you layer on the history of alleged internal conflict, the serious allegations, the denials, and this documented theme of control within the family. The picture the sources paint is far from simple or harmonious.
It really sounds like the source material highlights a deep split, maybe, a chasm within the family that plays out legally and publicly, full of contradictions.
That's a good way to summarize it for the listener, yeah. What the documentation lays out is this. You have very specific, serious allegations of abuse spanning years and countries. Then you have Errol Musk's documented forceful denials, plus his counterclaim that it's all about extortion. And all of this exists within a complex legal situation where, importantly, sources confirm no criminal conviction has resulted.
So, stepping back, what does it all add up to? The material seems to leave us with this picture of intense family conflict, this theme of control, and it's all punctuated by these specific legal battles and these very public inconsistencies, especially around the father-son relationship.
Okay. Which leads to maybe a final thought for you, the listener, to consider based purely on what's reported here. Let's take the reporting about the family environment as given for a moment the strong control, the domineering behavior, the verbal abuse Tosca mentioned. If that's accurate, what might that tell us about the long-term effects of such an environment on everyone involved? Regardless of the outcomes of any specific investigation, that documented dynamic of control, it's presented as a really defining element of their shared history in these sources. Something to think about.